I'm going to show you how to make Kreative Kiwi stacked tree, and for that I'm going to be using my 4x4 hoop, 2 layers of wash away stabiliser per hooping, matching bobbin and thread, some contrasting thread for the wording, masking tape, my squizzers, and I've got my fabrics and batting cut to size. You're going to start off by hooping your 2 layers of wash away stabiliser. And I like to pin around the top edge of my hoop so that the stabiliser doesn't get dragged down between the 2 pieces of the hoop. I just take a pin, push it through, bring it back round, and it sits nice and neatly on top of the hoop, out of the way. Load file A into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 1, and that's going to give you a placement outline for your batting. Place your batting over the outline and then tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Trim away all the excess batting from around the edge of the stitch line. Place your fabric over the top of the batting and tape it in place. You're now going to pop that into your machine and stitch round number 3 to secure it. Change your thread to whatever colour you want for the word Christmas, and then you're going to stitch round number 4. Turn your hoop over and place your backing fabric over the outline of the tree and then tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 5 to attach it. Trim away the excess fabric from both back and front of your hoop, so start off with the back. You're going to stitch round number 6, and that's going to do the zigzagging all the way around the edge here. Round number 7 is going to stitch the detail for the tree trunk. It's a fill, and then it's going to do the satin stitch around the edge afterwards. So you might want to change your matching bobbin and thread to another colour for this, and then stitch round number 7. Change your bobbin and thread to whichever colour you want for around the edge of the tree, and then you're going to stitch round number 8. You can now free this segment from your hoop, so take your scissors and just trim around the edge, taking care not to cut the stitching, of course. The excess stabiliser we will deal with afterwards. We'll be dissolving that with some warm water. You can now put this segment aside. Load file B into your machine, and then you're going to hoop and pin your stabiliser as you did before. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 1, and that's going to give you your placement outline for your batting. Place your batting over the outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Trim away all the excess batting from the stitch line. place your front fabric over the outline. Pay attention to if there's direction to your fabric like I've got with mine. Make sure that you've got it going in the right direction, because this doesn't sit square in the hoop. Then tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 3 to secure it. If you want to add your own design to the tree, now is the time to do so. You will stitch that and then you will pick up again at round 5. Change your thread to whatever colour you want for the word merry, and then you're going to stitch round number 4. Turn your hoop over and place your backing fabric over the outline, once again being mindful if there's a direction to your fabric, and then tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 5 to secure it. Cut away the excess fabric from both back and front of your hoop. Load your matching bobbin and thread that you want for the satin stitch around this piece into your machine. Then you're going to stitch round number 6, and that's going to do the zigzagging down this edge. It will stop round about here, and that's where we're going to join our previous piece to this one. Before we go any further, I'm going to trim up this edge here as close to the stitching as possible, and you want to do this because when you come to join the two pieces, you don't want this fabric poking through your zigzag stitching, because otherwise it's going to show when you come to do your satin stitch. You're going to place this stitch line on top of this stitch line here, and you're going to start where the zigzagging finished and then tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 7, and that's going to zigzag along the join and join the two pieces together. Before you go any further, I would advise you to remove your hoop from your machine and just check that there are no threads poking through the zigzagging where the join is. If there are, unpick it and then reposition and stitch it again, because it will make a difference to your finished piece. If you haven't done so already, load your matching bobbin and thread into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 8, and that's going to do the zigzagging around the second segment. Turn your hoop over and you can free your segment from the hoop. As we did previously, we're now going to trim up along this line here, which is our join line, cutting close to the stitch line. You can now put that aside for a minute. Load file C into your machine, hoop and pin your stabiliser, then pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 1 to give you your placement outline. Place your batting over the outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Trim away the excess batting. Turn your hoop over place your backing fabric over the outline and then tape it in place. Turn your hoop over, place your front fabric over the outline, and it's this area here that you're going to want to cover, and tape it in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 3 to secure it. Trim away the excess fabric from both the front and back of your hoop, starting with the back. If you want to add a little hanger, then you can place that over your fabric and then just tape it in place like so. I'm going to put mine on the back, and the reason being the fabric that I'm using is very, very thin, and if I placed it over there and then place that on top, it's going to actually show through. So on the back I'm not so bothered. So I'm going to turn my hoop over and place my hanger like that, just to make sure that it doesn't stray anywhere. Then I'm going to place my backing fabric for the star over the outline, and I'm going to tape that in place as well. Turn it over and add the front fabric and tape it in place. You can now pop that into your machine and stitch round number 4 to attach it all. Trim up all the excess fabric from the front and back of your hoop, taking care not to cut off your loop if you've added one. I'm going to start with the back. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 5, and that's going to zigzag all around the edge of the star and of the top of your Christmas tree. You're going to join your previous pieces to this one, so once again aligning the stitch line of this piece on top of the stitch line of this piece. You're going to place them one on top of each other and then tape them in place. Pop your hoop back into your machine and stitch round number 6 to secure it. The next area to be stitched is the satin stitching around the edge of the tree, so load a matching bobbin and thread into your machine for that, and then you're going to stitch round number 7. Load your matching bobbin and thread for the star into your machine, and then you're going to stitch round number 8. You can now free your tree from the hoop, so turn your hoop over and trim around the edge. Take care not to cut off your tab if you've put one on. All it remains to do now is to remove the excess stabiliser from around the edge of your tree. So with some warm water and a cotton bud, dip it in and just wipe it round the edge. And that completes your Christmas tree. I hope you enjoyed this stitch along. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of new videos as they're published. Do pop along to Creative Kiwi's Facebook group. There's lots of ideas, inspiration and help there for everybody. And thank you very much for joining me.